But we've got one other incredible woman that you've got to hear from tonight. And how many of you get your stuff all, ladies, men, you don't have to worry about this unless you got a man purse. But ladies, how many times you open up your purse right now, your handbags, look in there, tell me if you've got everything organized. Some of you look at me like I've got a hole in my head. This incredible lady can help you get it all together so that you're not only organized and looking good, and ladies, you look wonderful tonight. Hardeep, please come forward. Yeah.
Hardeep was my calendar role model. She has an amazing journey.
Thank you.
All right.
Her family became refugee 1971, 72 in Uganda. And her family fled, leaving everything behind. I had the pleasure of meeting your dad, fortunately, just before he passed away. And they went to Canada, and he talked about driving, having mentioned how much he was very, very humble guy, but he talked about the big rigs he was driving. And so she's been actually doing in business since
10 years.
Well, since the age of 16.
Yes, 16, true.
And your family was profiled in BBC News.
Yes, and we're going to show you a little clip.
Also, I'm probably duplicating what you're going to say, but last year she was on Oprah, or her product was Oprah Winfrey's top 100 favorite things.
Thank you, Patty, so much. That is so lovely, and I'm very honored for being here and for you to ask me to speak today. This is actually my first speech. So I'm going to show you a little clip, and that'll tell you a little story about where we started.
3 months ago, President Idi Amin of the African nation of Uganda ordered the expulsion of all non-citizen Asians. He charged that their long-time dominance of the country's commercial life had denied native Ugandans any meaningful economic opportunities. Prior to the deadline that went into effect tonight, tens of thousands of Asians, most holding British passports, fled the country, with a substantial number finding refuge in Canada.
They had boarded this plane in the blazing hot sun of Kampala, Uganda, almost 24 hours before. They were fleeing their homeland. When they arrived in Montreal, it was dark, windy, and cold. People like M.S. Alawalya, his wife, and 4 children. About 15 years ago, he bought one truck and began hauling things for other people. A few years later, he owned 4 trucks, employed 5 people. But in the early morning hours of September 27th, he said goodbye to those employees and to his business. He went home, gathered his family and all they could carry, and then went to the airport. Mr. Alawalya wanted to go to Sarnia in Ontario, about 60 miles from Detroit. There, he will settle with relatives until he can get a job and his own home. For pocket money, each adult received $10, each child $5. More will be provided when that runs out.
So I had a very good trip.
Well, that should tell you a little bit where our journey started. You know, it's interesting listening to all this wonderful speeches tonight. It really moved me to think, you know, we all started from a place. And my story tonight is about faith. You know, I've been lucky enough to have not just a mother, but a father as a role model. I want, you know, women empowerment is such an important thing, and I think every young lady out there should recognize that not only today should she be empowered by her mother, but her father. And my dad did that for me. My father only had $30 coming from Africa to a new country, and start all over again. But he never let us ever think once that that was fearful. My father always told me, if you work hard, have passion, and never give up, you can be anything you want to be. I believe that. This is so powerful, as my father and mother grew up in an Indian culture where a woman's place was in the kitchen. I was one of the lucky girls that my parents thought more. They always said, you can do whatever you want to do and try. I want every woman, regardless of her age, who is thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, running a company, or becoming a leader, that you have to believe 100% in yourself. Never let anything get in the way of making your dreams happen, because you have faith. Everything is possible. Now let me share with you why I chose the word faith to be the pivotal word for this speech. Because I started PurseN 10 years ago, and honestly, I didn't know what I was doing at all. The first letter in faith represents F, and that for me means fearless. Why fearless? Because you have to be able to embrace the fear to move forward. And there are so many voices in your head that are telling you why you should not move forward. But then you ask the warrior in you to show up, so the voices disappear. I say this with such passion, as I've had to fight many battles. I had to call in my entire army to help me win the battles in my head. But I remember going on a plane 10 years ago to China, thinking to myself, have I lost my mind? I was going to a new country to meet a factory that I only met once in Atlanta. I had no clue about production, and even if the factory would be able to deliver our first production, and yikes, I'm afraid. But you know what? At the end of the day, I remember what my father and my mother taught me, faith. If you believe, you will make that a reality. So, you know, you must listen to your gut and be fearless and let your warrior come out and fight. Oprah Winfrey, an amazing, powerful woman, says, let your inner GPS guide you. And I honestly believe that 100%. I've always let my inner GPS guide me, and that is why I do what I do today. The second letter is faith, and the second letter in faith is A, and that represents aggressive. Now, why do I choose being aggressive? Well, it's funny. It's so relevant to me because when someone says, no, you can't make that, no, you cannot buy that building, no, you cannot get that loan, and no, how do you do what you do and think that you can do 100,000 pieces of production? And then you remember being aggressive allows you to overcome the no's. And you remind yourself that no is not an option. Now for the letter I, inspired. Being inspired is the fuel that guides you to your path. I love what I do. It inspires me every day. I love to solve problems. It's funny. I never thought that the simplest things like your handbag or traveling, that I would be so inspired to find solutions, but I actually truly love it to the bottom of my heart. I go to China, I work with the factories, I sit with every pattern maker, every sewer. I don't even know how to sew, I do not know how to design, and I don't know how to sketch. But don't ask me, there is something that I just know how to do it. I recently came back from my design trip, and the crazy part of this story is that it is my 10-year anniversary. And I'm flying back to China thinking, what in God's name am I about to do now? And I went on this trip to finalize and reinvent what I started 10 years ago, the handbag organizer. But now, with LED light. Yes, ladies, you can be organized and you can see in the dark. I'm working with women, and the interesting thing was the young woman that works with me, I had a real surreal moment where I was looking at her and I thought to myself, wow, 10 years ago, did I think that this young woman would be sitting in front of me today because she was a sales girl at the first factory I ever met her at. And I was just staring at her thinking and watching her be the boss, be the leader, be passionate. And, you know, I said, wow, today she sits here in front of me and she's not just the salesperson, but she's a leader. And she is, she's an owner of a factory in China, and that is very rare because most of them are men. I saw her now as an entrepreneur, a leader, and a mother, and that to me was being so inspired. It really took me back because it really made me realize that it's not just about me. It's about every woman that I meet and every man that also gives us an opportunity to work together. And I will tell you, her husband, my husband, and just to have that support system that, yes, you can go do that, and you can make what you want a reality. You know, for me, it is something that I think listening to all the stories today makes me realize that we are all, you know, entrepreneurs. We all want to succeed, and we all want to live passionately. Now, thinker is the T in faith. Now, everyone knows how hard it can be, and, you know, you always have to think outside the box. One of my funny thing was that when I started PurseN, I declared that I would be in Oprah magazine. I didn't even have an office. I had one person working for me. I mean, nobody knew who I was, and I was like, okay, that's a big dream, but I can make this happen. After many samples to Oprah magazine, and after many PR agencies, nothing. And I thought, you know what? I'm not giving up. But the funny thing was that one day at a trade show, I was walking across, and I look up, and I see a man walking down the aisle. And I said, you know, he is somebody. So I just walked into the middle of the aisle, and I just stopped him. And it happened to be the creative editor of O Magazine. And he goes, who are you? And I said, I'm Hardeep. You know, and it was really funny because I'm sure he has so many people approach him. But in that moment, he took the time to sit with us and see our collection. And lucky enough, we were featured in a few issues, and PurseN was picked for Oprah's Favorite Things 2016. Yay! Thank you. That was an amazing moment, and we were so grateful for that. Now, 10 years later, what do we do now? I'm always thinking about the next chapter. And I had the aha moment again. Again, listening to your GPS is so important because in that moment I realized, wait, I started with this organizer, I'm going to reinvent it and relaunch it. And you know what? I feel like this is the path that you create for yourself because you do have faith. I'm excited to launch my newest product called Lip Bag. It's the lighted handbag organizer for the modern woman today. I'm lucky and fortunate to have great thinkers on my team. Ironically, we have a lot of women. They inspire me to be great because they are great women, and they all want to work and be inspired and do what they're passionate about, and I hope that I can be the woman that gives them that inspiration. I'm also very blessed person because I have great friends and family that helped me on this journey. You know, you always surround yourself with people that think and believe in you and believe in your vision. And I will tell you, I wouldn't be here, standing here and doing what I do if it wasn't for the people in my life that always says, you know what, you can make it, you can do that. There is a way. And, you know, when you do have those oh my God moments, what am I doing? They're the ones that will pick you up and push you forward. Last but not least, it's the H in humor. We all need humor in our lives to keep smiling. Humor is so important because when you fall, you get right back up when you have humor in your life. Humor allows you to dust off yourself, laugh, and continue on the journey. That is a very powerful remedy. I learned that very quickly. There was a pivotal moment in my life when we were doing PurseN. I spent 2 years developing it, creating it, and you know, we got copied immediately from a very large company. My heart sank. I was devastated. And I thought, oh no, is it over? This is not good. But interesting enough, you know, you realize that the journey is not about someone copying you, but the journey is about you getting up, right back up, and allowing yourself to shrug that off and continue on your journey. Because you don't have to let others, you know, take that from you. So I reminded myself that I have integrity and I will keep moving forward. I know that nothing is that terrible, but maybe there's a silver lining in situations, good or bad. Never look at things in life as good or bad, but an experience. Remember, you're a writer, a leader, an actor, and the director of your life. As my friend Paul Chelko used to say, make it count, as you have only one role and you need to be the star of your own movie. I would like to conclude by saying, even though women are still fighting for women's equality today, do not give up, because progress is being made. And yes, one day there will be a Madam President of the United States of America. The word impossible is very interesting. If you hear from people that your dreams, aspirations, and goals are impossible, then why does the word impossible spell I'm possible? I'm Indian, I'm African, I'm Canadian, I'm American, and most importantly, I'm a human being, having a human experience. Fearless, aggressive, inspired, thinker, and humor. May this all be with you. Everything is possible when you have faith. I thank Patty, I thank Saris To Suits, and I thank everyone for listening to my story and my journey. And I wish everyone faith in their lives. Thank you.